Sleep, Mimi's, bedtime. Easily one of the most controversial topics. Are we getting enough sleep? Is 5 to 6 hours enough a night? Hi, I'm Jake Velez. I am a student at the University of California, Berkeley, and I am here to help you become the better sleeper and become the best you that you can be. We are often risking our cognitive function. Uh, our cognitive functioning, sorry guys, as a result of our reduced sleep. And I am tired of witnessing this sacrifice and experiencing it myself. And I'm here to help you guys navigate the world of sleep just a little bit better because I sure have since coming into this knowledge. And I hope that this can be as helpful to you as it once was to me. Taking a quick glance at the data, it is easy to see that although some people are getting their 7 to 8 hours a night, it is simply not enough people, and a vast majority of these individuals are getting 6 to 7 hours a night, 4 to 5 hours a night, calling it a night, and thinking this is just enough. Our sleep is not like the bank. We cannot repay it. And once that we've accumulated that debt, it never goes away. A lot of people often say that they are tired, they can't get enough sleep, and they don't know why. Because once you lose that sleep, there's no getting it back, my friends. No getting it back. And the best recommendation that I can give you is to get those 8 hours. As noted, as you age, generationally, we can see that we are often getting less sleep, and it's often more difficult to fall asleep because we have a reduced sense of sleepiness. So the best thing I can recommend is maybe getting a little more physical exercise, doing more mentally strenuous activities, because even though we are aging and going into like elderliness, uh, we are still subject to the same conditions. Unless we receive those 8 hours, we are at risk for developmental disorders. And to reduce the ability to, you know, get those disorders, it might be helpful to get those 8 hours. Random facts. We are often conditioned to be awake in our bed because we do a lot of activities in our bed. And when you do activity in your bed, you are training your mind, unawareingly sometimes, to be awake in bed more so than to be asleep in bed. And when experiencing restlessness, some things that I recommend is to actually just get up, get out of bed, go do the thing on your mind, go sit in your living room, do something, just don't do it in your bed. You are telling yourself that it is okay to just, sit up here and be all up in my head. Get up, get out, go do it, and then come back, and it might actually improve your sleep. Another fact that I'd like to share that was extremely helpful to me was that the presence of blue light is actually very damaging and it can have a significant impact on your sleep. We need complete and total darkness to help secrete melatonin from our brains through our pineal gland. And unless there's darkness, we're not actually doing that. So it makes falling asleep a lot harder. I actually recommend doing something like going on the nighttime mode an hour before you go to bed because we want to actually tone down the amount of light we are receiving before bed to help us bring about that sleepiness. So that we could get through the, sleepy night and wake up a whole brand new person ready to take on that day. Now now I'd like to talk about substance use and the amount of people that are using caffeine, cocaine, marijuana, whatever you use. This is all affecting our sleeping potential, and we are actually putting ourselves at risk for not being the best sleepers that we can be. In so much, a lot of people smoke marijuana, and it does induce sleepy feelings. Of course, it does. Like, I cannot make the argument that after you smoke, that you're gonna be like, yeah, man, I can't fall asleep, you know? Like, it's sedating you, is what it's doing. And we're actually putting ourselves at a lack of REM. When we sleep, a lot of us aren't dreaming, and we often just see darkness. And that's because we're not producing REM sleep. REM sleep is instrumental to our functioning, instrumental to our memory consolidation, and often puts us at the effect of not being able to recall or remember a lot of our emotionally intimate things or things that might have happened just yesterday. And it's because we are doing these things to ourselves. And the moment you stop smoking, just one day, that's where you get the craziest dreams because you're putting yourself at a REM rebound. REM rebound, say it with me. And when you get the REM rebound is when you have those crazy dreams of when you're like flying through outer space and you see a kitten shooting lasers out of its eyes. Like, it's just wild, man. We often can't fall asleep too due to our caffeine usage. And one of the recommendations is to use caffeine no later than 2 p.m. Because when you use it later than that, that's when you might have some trouble falling asleep. And that's pretty much all I can tell you is to cool it with the coffee. A lot of people also take alcohol, and the use of alcohol is impeding us from actually achieving REM 2. It's working as a sedation, and we're not actually getting proper sleep every time we drink alcohol, even though a lot of people say, like, oh, I slept just like when I was a baby. Like, it's still not. It's still not helping you achieve that instrumental sleep that you need to be at your cognitive best. And I recommend by physiologically, I'm not like telling you to do this, but the best effect would be to actually drink in the morning. And when you drink in the morning, it gives your body time to wear down and break away the alcohol and go through your system so that by the time you go to bed, it is not actually influencing or affecting you so that you're actually getting the best night's sleep that you deserve. As with the others, cocaine and a lot of the other stimulants are also affecting us in these ways, putting us at this rebound effect where we are subjecting ourselves to a lack of dreams and sleep, proper sleep, and we are then feeling the effects of a night where we just felt like we kind of just, closed our eyes. You already feel like you can't sleep when you're using stimulants. Like, it's only making it kind of worse. And yeah, I would just recommend to just kind of reduce the intake if you want a good night's sleep or if you feel like you haven't rested in a while. Some of us have schedule variables within our sleeping schedules, so it makes having sleep be a difficult circumstance because we never know when we're going to work. To this, I do recommend to try to, at your best, achieve an 8-hour window of sleep any way you can, whether that is a day nap, um, hours that might be separated. You can try doing a biphasic sleep model, multiphasic sleep model, something that would help you to make sure that you're achieving those full 8 hours every night. Some of us also have a 9 to 5 job and are still experiencing sleep deprivation issues. And to this, I say to you to make sure that you align your circadian rhythm. A circadian rhythm is when your body has an internal clock that it can follow to help modulate and regulate the sleep you're getting in a specific time period. And if you know your schedule, whether that is early morning work and not sleeping enough, night work and not sleeping enough, sometimes it can be stressful because you're working a specific shift. I just recommend doing some meditation, some relaxing activities, 2 hours before bed. Just try to do something that you find pleasure in, routine, relaxing. It probably isn't best to try to read a book or study right before bed, even though sometimes it does help with consolidation. It might stress you out an unnecessary amount and reduce the amount of sleep you're getting. So practice the circadian rhythm and just practice it to the effect that you can to make sure you're achieving your full 8 hours and regulating them for the most healthiest sleep effects you can achieve. Many of us have night jobs and we can't help it. We just can't. And one of the things I would say is to align your circadian rhythm. Like it's always instrumental to try to get your 8 hours when you can, and maybe you should try to reduce the presence of sunlight available within the room. Our brain is best able to fall asleep when there's a lack of sunlight, lack of noise, and surrounding stimulus. And if you can try to get yourself in a secluded area where there's darkness, quietness, and everything, it might actually help you get to sleep in those little in between periods that you can. Along with this, many of us are parents, and parents doing night work, and it's also really hard just to get that sleep that we need to feel the best us we can be. Our sleep is actually divided into different ways of sleeping, and we're often used to like this uniphasic sleep where we sleep one extended period of 8 hours. And although it is one of the arguably best ways, I would suggest, if that is not an option to you, to try to use biphasic sleeping. It's something that we have used since infancy. Have you ever seen like an infant and they sleep in different little periods? I recommend to a lot of parents to try to get the biphasic or multiphasic sleep. Sleep when your infant is sleeping, sleep when you have those little periods. And if you can try to, at your best, accumulate that 8 hour period throughout your day, that maybe it will help you feel a lot better than just trying to squeeze it all in and, failing. A lot of individuals experience intense hunger when they are not sleeping right, and a lot of it has to do with our ghrelin and leptin. To remember this, I thought of like a growling tummy and like a Lipton diet iced tea. But the levels of our ghrelin are actually increased with reduced sleep, and leptin is decreased. So we experience this need to eat all of the carbs, and our body naturally is just drawn to the fattiest foods that we can get because your human mind and body would not think that we are so silly to deprive ourselves of sleep. So we think that we are dying and we choose to grab as much of our fatty and like carby foods as we can to help reduce the risk of dying because we're probably that associates it with like starvation. So by doing this to ourselves and depriving ourselves of sleep, we're actually making it worse if we're on dietary practitioners to follow those guidelines. And next time you feel hungry, I recommend double dosing on that sleep to try to help you in reducing your carbohydrate intake or your fatty intake if you're following some sort of dietary plan. Or at least in your mind, consider that maybe because I slept less, this is how it's affecting me. So try to just alter your choice options. It can be hard sometimes with a limited resource available at your disposal. So if it seems like too much of a hassle, just sleep more, take a nap. Sometimes when we don't sleep, we are grumpy, and it has to do with sleep. Yeah, because our amygdalic activity is at a skyrocket when we don't sleep. And because we've deprived ourselves, we now face the issues of feeling emotional intensity. And it is often invasive and clouds our logic. And a lot of the decision making seems reduced due to the implications of a lack of sleep. And as stated before, sleep some more to try to help with that amyloidic activity level. And if improbable, I would recommend to try to just think um, maybe you're feeling a specific type of way due to your lack of sleep. And before making an instrumental decision, it's always important to just try to sleep on it. That's what the motto is, and it holds true. A lot of us are experiencing a lot of issues that I believe that I've covered in today's video. But some of the issues that I have not yet covered is studying. When we are up late and studying, we often have ability to concentrate at a less rate. And by depriving ourselves of sleep, we are reducing our cognitive functioning by a substantial rate. And studies have proven that when we do not sleep, we're actually like consolidating less. So by staying up late and reducing our sleep, we're not actually consolidating the amount of material that we need. And I know it's hard sometimes when you have an upcoming test, but it seems in the best interest to do as much as you can and then just sleep on it, consolidate that material, and to plan in advance. It might be best to plan in advance when studying to try to make sure that you're comprehending this material at a rate in which you can regurgitate it on our midterms. Extended periods without sleep and trying to study have shown that we're not actually even comprehending what we're reading, and then we're also not grasping it and consolidating it if we're reading it. So it's kind of like this endless cycle of like not learning anything. I mean, you probably will grasp, bits, but by maximizing our sleep, we're actually instrumentally helping ourselves. I recommend studying on a desk. Don't study in your bed because it might help you like have a lesser ability to sleep due to stress. And if you're stressed, I recommend to meditate. Think and breathe. Surround yourself with a quiet environment. Sometimes, often, people utilize white noise to fall asleep in the background, and by having that kind of stimulus available to you, it can be calming and reduce anxious associations. And if your restlessness still is persisting despite these issues, I recommend just getting up out of the bed and pacing or doing something else that's just not in the bedroom to try to help yourself navigate that feeling. And then once you feel it decrease, head back to bed and try to fall asleep again. Aside from this, memories are an instrumental feature in our lives, in our ability to recall and remember where things might be that might be of great importance to us. And as I stated earlier with drug use, it is not entirely drugs, but our ability to sleep. And by depriving ourselves of sleep, we're actually reducing our ability to expand and recall our memories because we are not consolidating or saving our memories. Our brain works kind of like a save file, and when you play a video game, when you forget to save, you're right back where you started, and it's almost as if the game cannot remember where or what happened. Maybe bits and chunks might be saved through autosave, but you won't get the full effect of it all. And by us choosing to have a reduced sleep, we are actually not consolidating our memories at the rate that we should. Sometimes I know it's very hard to get that full amount of sleep, and to this I recommend take a nap. Take a nap. As soon as you learn something, take a nap. It will help you to consolidate that thing which you are trying to recall and learn at a higher rate, which makes it almost save. Taking a nap is like saving a game. And if you just took that small nap, it might work in helping you to consolidate your memory and use it at a later time. Last but not least, I myself, and I know many others, after reading the survey results, have shown issues with sickness. Part of sickness is the production of cytokines, and cytokines increase the rate at which we sleep so that we can recover at a higher rate. And by not sleeping, we are actually reducing our ability to heal and increasing our risk of sickness. A study has shown that after receiving a flu vaccination, that you might not actually experience the immunologic effects of the vaccination if you're not getting the proper amount of sleep. And comparatively, the people that do receive the vaccination actually do receive immediate effects. Because of this, sometimes when we do not sleep, we report feeling more sick and we are more susceptible because our immune and defenses are greatly reduced. All I can recommend is to get more sleep or to gear up on immuno-effective kind of things like an airborne possibly, but more importantly, get some more sleep because sometimes the precautions we take might not be as effective. It's instrumental to let these cytokines influence and affect our body to promote healthy healing. Unless otherwise, we will seem and feel perpetually sick. I would lastly like to thank the work of Matthew Walker at University of California, Berkeley. I have used many of the slides in this video and all the work is his. I don't take any of the credit for the slides that I used from his lectures, as well as Caitlin Gasser-Petty and her work that she used in her discussion slides. I don't take any of the credit for the work or any of the references that I used within the survey. It is all theirs, and I was just using this as a way to inform the general public of things that we can do to help modulate our sleep and an effective response. Thank you. Have a great night, guys, and get some sleep.